All right. Hello, hello. How's everyone doing?
Good mate, how are you?
Good, good. I hope everyone had a good Easter, good weekend, and no one got pranked on April Fool's Day. Almost over.
I actually haven't seen too many good ones anyway. I saw Bankless did one which pissed off a whole bunch of the Solana community, but apart from that,
Yeah, I figure I don't know. It's kind of yeah, it could be funny or it could go wrong, right? People get really mad.
yeah, I feel like it's actually leaning more towards the even if it's funny, but you've upset me, it's inappropriate to do an April Fool's joke. Like be mature, which
Yeah.
is kind of whereas when they first started happening, it was quite funny, but yeah, I think the meta has changed now.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got everyone here. All right. Yeah. So, welcome, guys. We're gonna have a main council town hall now. We have multiple subjects to cover, from roadmap updates to capital raise, proposals, airdrop, all kinds of stuff to go over. So we kind of want to just jump right in and get started. This will be recorded. I will upload it shortly after. It'll be up tonight if you can't be here for the whole thing. Also, if you want to just hold your questions till the end, you can either type them in the chat as we're going or hold them till the end, and maybe we'll have some time to bring some people up. But yeah, I think that's everything. We can go ahead and jump in and get started. I think, Kieran, you're going to kick it off with some details or updates about the roadmap that we recently put out.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of it has been covered in, well, not a lot of it, all of it has been covered in the blog. There's only one date which is to be determined, but for those that don't like reading or whatever, or haven't had a chance to read the blog yet, I can go over it. So the exciting thing is the intention is for us to definitely go live in Q2. And if all things go well throughout these testing periods, then that will be the case, and everything will be all good. But the way that we're rolling things out is there'll be a private beta 4 which will be exactly that. It will remain private. We're working out the exact numbers that we can get into that private beta. Because we're utilizing the Epic Store, we actually need to work with them. And so their system is going to dictate how many people we can get in. So I don't have an exact number on that, but the first thing to note is that there'll be a combination of uh, or a split of people in the Illuvium community. That will include people that have been super active across the games, or super active in governance, super active in just community discussion, and adding and giving feedback to us, which obviously we value very, very highly. And so we will be choosing probably 50% of the people that get into that private beta based on those parameters. It's obviously like this private beta before we go live is the most important one for us to receive feedback. So I think the top players in Arena and the most active, we're going to be looking to get as much feedback from those people. Same thing with the overworld players, anyone who's kept on grinding it out and testing the new features over the last sort of 18 months. We want to hear from you in this private beta, and so there's a very very good chance that that you'll get in, or at least be looked at in terms of getting into this private beta. Then the other half of it, and same applies for Zero as well. You know, we absolutely want to reward the people that have been playing their land plot, and so even though the intention is not to have Zero as one of the games that we're testing in there, we still want to reward people that are holding a land plot and have been playing that land plot. Having said that, I've seen a lot of conversation or discussion inside some channels where people are assuming if they have a land plot, then they will automatically go into this private beta. That's not the case, and the reason is we need to spread out the amount of people across all the different games. It's just, you know, we as I said before, we have to test this properly and thoroughly. And there's obviously going to be crossover. Someone that's playing their Zero plot might actually be someone who's a top 50 active person in Arena, and vice versa. So there will be some crossover. It will give you a much better chance to go in if you are holding a land plot and you have been active with Zero, but it's not guarantee. Same thing is if you're a top 100 Arena player, it's not guaranteed. If you're someone who's played Overworld every single day for the past 18 months, it's still not guaranteed. It'll just give you a much better chance to get inside this private beta. So that's sort of the Illuvium side of private beta 4 in terms of our internal community. Then what we want to do is bring in a whole bunch of new people into the ecosystem right before launch, and not just bring people in. It's also about reactivating people that we've gotten interested in Illuvium over the last 3 years. We're going from having, as you all know, we've got over 1 million people that have registered over the last 3 years, but we need to actually make sure that they have a IMX passport account. And so part of this is about reactivating people, getting them as prepared as possible for the testnet. And so part of this sign up is about connecting your IMX account and then us getting those details. And then we know that you're locked and loaded, you're ready to go. As soon as we send you an email, you don't need to go through the hoops of creating an account or whatever like that. We can just get you into the game immediately with a little bit of test ETH. And so that is that's the deal in terms of private beta 4. Now we are also going to open up the pre-registration to a whole bunch of content creators and partners and give them a small amount of slots as well. And that's leaning into this idea that we want to try and get as many people excited and activated prior to us going into this testing period. And so you'll be seeing content creators making videos saying, hey, I've got 50 spots available, go and sign up to Illuvium, go through this process, and it'll put you in the draw to win one of these private beta spots. The idea there is we want thousands of people to sign up, and yes, not everyone is going to get in. It is going to be a random ballot for each content creator that brings in their community, but it gives you a chance, right? And yes, again, not all of these people are going to go in, but it means once we go to the open testnet, we have all of these emails that are connected to a passport account. Makes it much more accessible, much more easy for us to market to these people and bring them into the ecosystem in preparation for open beta. The hook for that is anyone who gets into this private beta 4 will receive the first airdrop points. So again, if you are one of the people from the Illuvium community that gets in, amazing, you'll get some airdrop points. if you're one of these people from an external community, that's the hook for these content creators to provide value to their community, to say, if you do get in, you're going to get the first airdrop points out of anyone in the Illuvium ecosystem, play to airdrop, which will go live a little bit later. So that's the first process. That's going to be opening up. Again, the intention is April 15th. It may actually be a little bit earlier. What we've discussed is the longer that registration process is open, the better. It gives people that creating content and partners that are doing press releases and all of this marketing material that we're hoping goes out. It gives them a little bit more time to build that up. So it's meant to be, it will definitely be live on April 15th, but it may go live a little bit earlier. And obviously we'll keep you informed of that process. It will last 2 weeks, and then that will go straight into private beta 4 going live. And over that process, we'll start emailing people out a code for them to go through the Epic Store and start playing. The important thing there is that you'll get an Epic Store code. So if anyone is emailing you saying, yeah, you got into beta, just connect up your wallet and do a whole bunch of things, that is most definitely going to be a scam. And you need to be very wary of that, because as we know, when we go into these betas, scammers start getting feverish and they start wanting to attack our community. And so just be vigilant there. Private beta 4, that will last from April 30th to May 28th. At that point, we go into the open beta testnet. So again, even if you don't get into that private beta, which is going to be super limited, don't worry. There is going to be a period where you can start earning your airdrop points from May 28th. We don't have an exact date on when we're going to be going live with open beta. The reason is we obviously, the intention is still there that 2 to 4 weeks after the open testnet, we will be going live, but we still need to test a lot of functions, right? Like there's us connecting up to chain is going to have a lot of implications across the economy, across asset creation. There's a lot of connection to IMX that we need to make sure is all good. And while there's going to be a ton of internal testing, we're just not, we don't want to disappoint by saying we'll go live on this date, and then maybe we find a couple of little bugs that take longer for us to iron out, and then we miss that date. So that's the reason why we haven't gone live with, we haven't gone out with an exact date. But again, the intention is for that testing period to last 2 to 4 weeks. So take that as you will. And yeah, that's the roadmap. Obviously, the roadmap doesn't include like the entire marketing plan that we're going to be going live with. We've got the cinematic, which is coming out. We've got a bunch of other partnerships with other communities that we are discussing at the moment, and we announced the Pudgy Penguins one the other last week. And so just know that there is a huge marketing plan to roll out as we go through these this beta testing period and then into open beta. And the idea is to get as many people as possible into the open beta testnet, with the biggest hook of all being the amount of airdrop points that you can earn. Yes, you can't at that point keep your alluvials, you can't sell them, and so there's no earning on that side, but people will still be playing as much as possible to earn as many airdrop points as they can going into to open beta. The one other thing that I don't think we've mentioned, maybe it's somewhere in the blog, but the intention as well is for us to have 2 actual payouts in terms of the airdrop. The initial payout will be done at the end of, when I say the end, maybe give us a couple of weeks of grace after the testnet, the open beta testnet is complete, but there'll be an airdrop for an airdrop payout for that. And then once we go into full open beta, there will be another payout at the end of that open beta. So I think that's all the information that is needed at this point. If anyone has something wasn't clear, feel free to chuck it in the chat, or I think we're going to make this pretty interactive as well by bringing people up. So that's, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we can.
There's one here about Illuvium 0. So in terms of Illuvium 0, the intention there is to have that inside the testing period, but around about the 15th of June, which obviously only leaves us with a couple of weeks of testing of that. So the actual internal date is intended to be complete much sooner than that. So we've given ourselves a bit of a buffer there in terms of Illuvium 0, but we absolutely want it to be part of the testing. And I just want to make it clear as well in terms of Illuvium 0, because I had the pleasure of going into the Illuvium 0 landholders chat this morning, and I know there's a lot of negativity surrounding the land plots. If Illuvium 0 isn't out for whatever reason, or let's say that 2-week period is not sufficient and we're not happy with where it's at, there will absolutely still be the 5% that gets paid out to landholders. So you won't miss out on that. That is 100% baked in. I know a lot of people are saying if they don't get 0, and that's, we lose again, and that's just, standard for us landholders, but that is not the case. You will still get your payout, even though it will be manual. Your 5% is secure.
Other question about meant to be like 6 months long, the second airdrop period, right?
The total is 6 months. So the intention here is that open beta will be, that the testnet open beta will be a month long, and then the open beta first season, if you will be an additional 5 months, making it 6 months total.
That second airdrop payout would happen near, like, at the end of that 5 months, basically.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Anything you guys have to add, or should we keep it moving along?
Yeah, just one question that got dropped in chat too, Rich. I'll speak to. So there was a question on the trailer that is not out yet. Can confirm, as the IMC here has been pestering Kieran for us to get a chance to see it for, guys, help me out, 4 weeks now, 5 weeks. So yeah, as soon as it's ready for public consumption, we know that it will be dropping. But I would say just hold out for a little bit. We know it's going to be of interest to everybody, regardless of any posters who may or may not have put April Fool's jokes out about the trailer today.
Yeah, so just a little bit more info around the plan there. There will be there will be a YouTube premiere that is going live, which everyone will be able to to go and subscribe to and sit there waiting. That will mean that if you do that, you'll be notified once the trailer goes live. The idea is for us to build as much excitement as possible. So we're toying with the idea of putting it up probably like 2 to 4 weeks before it actually goes live, and that way we can get as much. We'll start. There'll be some marketing initiatives where we start directing traffic directly to that YouTube page to get people to subscribe to it, and by doing so, what we're trying to achieve is like those. I just know for myself, when we advertise those a couple of days before, we end up getting like 500 to 1,000 people watching. It creates an awesome environment. The chat starts going crazy. We want to do that, but we want to try and like 5 or 10x that and get it really, really big. So it's a huge event, because the trailer absolutely deserves it. The amount of work that has gone into it is amazing. The amount of lore that's shared will, I think, blow people's minds. And so yeah, we do want to put a lot of emphasis on this trailer coming up.
Yep. Can't wait for everyone to see it. Amazing art. Yeah, let's keep it moving. I mean, this was a good question. They said Muffin Man asked, will the players playing the current beta be cut off from the game when PB4 is live? And as far as I was aware, Kieran, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's not the case, because we have to have a game live on Epic. And so there will be, the Epic version that everyone's playing now, and then there will be a version that people are downloading that get into PB4, basically.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yes, PB4 will be done through IMX Passport. It'll be on the testnet. It'll be Sandbox Passports, but it works essentially the same. Sepolia, ETH, yeah, all through testnet. So we'll have more details on how to do all that with an additional blog when you're getting into PB4, essentially. All right. The next item I think on the agenda was the capital raise, Kieran.
Yeah, so obviously really, really good news. We worked quite hard on that to get that done. It was, oh God, I don't know how many meetings I had. I think it was like 40, maybe 50 in the end. And the idea was I wanted to go out to as many firms as possible that were highly respected, that could potentially benefit us through different initiatives that they focus on with their with the portfolios that they have. And so the idea was to have a really, really good mix to also get enough capital that we could build out another game. And this gives us, quite a boost to our runway. We'll have the latest expenses out soon, and that will give you a very clear indication of how much runway we have left. But with 12 million being added to the kitty, and with revenue generation starting very, very soon, I think we're going to be in an excellent place. And yeah, we may look back on this capital raise and say, why'd we do that? We didn't need it, right? But I think having the ability to build out another game, even if it means we have no revenue generation and all things are bad, I think is a good fail-safe, and it puts us, it alleviates any investors' concerns that if open beta doesn't blow things out of the water, there's no options left. That's not the case now. We definitely have other options. It's not saying that this is what I've said to the team internally. It's not saying at all that we are expecting open beta to not go well. I'm very, very much expecting to turn around in July and say, well, that was a dumb idea to raise more capital because we didn't need it. Look at how much revenue we're generating, and I think that's what we're all looking for. But again, having a backup there is always good. Bringing a whole bunch of firms into Illuvium, I think has two purposes. The first is that there's a lot of coverage, that there's a lot of investors that look at these firms, and it gives them confidence that if all of these at Arrington, King River, Animoca, Spartan, Polygon, like there's some seriously large investors that have come in here, and if they've done very extensive due diligence on us, then it gives the community of investors the peace of mind. And then the second part there is it also gives a good signal to people that don't necessarily want to, firms that don't necessarily have in their mandate to have a lockup period and just purely wish to buy off market. I've already seen multiple firms take a position in us that decided to decline being locked up, but we'll see the potential. We were able to pitch almost every single investor in this space in terms of these large VC funds, and so you get a lot of trailing purchases from that as well. And so I think overall, with the idea that if revenues are great, yes, we're going to look back and say, well, that was unnecessary. But as well, the way that the tokenomics are set up, we'll be buying back ILV into the DAO anyway, and we'll probably look back and say, well, it's already filled back up to how much we sold. So does it really matter? No, not really. So I think all things considered, really good, really happy with it. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it.
Okay. Next, Victor, I think you're gonna go over some of the proposals that have been gone through past month or so, or since the beginning of the year. If you're talking, Blichter, I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I was on push to talk. So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit today about if people have been paying attention to governance, they will have noticed that there's been more revisions and rejections on proposals lately, and we as the council kind of felt that it was important to share the reason for that and sort of where that's coming from, just so that there's some transparency on why that's been happening. So sort of firstly, it's important to recognize that the primary reason behind those rejections and revisions is to make sure that we're not introducing additional scope to the project in a way that could, compromise our timelines for open beta. A lot of these proposals, even though it might not be immediately apparent, they have the potential to add, as much as weeks or months to timelines, depending on how they can slot into development pipelines. This is something that sort of got identified over the course of maybe the past 2 or 3 epochs, and we're just trying to be extremely diligent to make sure that we're mitigating that issue as much as possible, where we're not throwing new topics and new things to work on into the development pipeline in ways where they can't be streamlined. So when we're looking at proposals, we're looking at a bunch of different criteria, but there's sort of 3 main ones that I wanted to talk about. So we want to make sure that proposals are well communicated and understood by the community, and this sort of comes out as community sentiment. So if a proposal is understood by the community, typically it will have a more positive reception. The content matters a lot as well, but we've had issues in the past where maybe the intent or the reasoning behind a proposal isn't well understood. So that's sort of one of the first criteria we look at, and that's sort of represented by community council. After that, we're looking at, is this proposal net beneficial to Illuvium as a whole? And then sort of the third main one we're looking at is this proposal realistically something that can be implemented within the lab's development pipeline? And so to do that, every time a proposal is coming to us as the main council, we're consulting with labs through Kieran and as needed through other labs members. But in doing that, sometimes it becomes clear for reasons that might not be immediately apparent that this is something that will add a significant delay if we pass a proposal that says this thing must be done by, for example, wave 3, or if there's firm timelines involved. That's sort of where we can start running into those sorts of issues. I did want to touch on that these votes for revision and rejection, it's important that it's not taken as dismissive. We take community input very seriously, and a lot of even some of the proposals that are rejected, some of the core ideas in those proposals is valuable. And so I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that a rejection does mean that the proposal is not being implemented, and it's not something that we're going to strictly follow to the exact letter of the proposal, but the core intent is still something that oftentimes gets taken on board. So I suppose to sort of close this out, I just wanted to encourage people who have been creating proposals, who have been thinking about proposals, to continue doing so. Even though some of these proposals are getting, revised or rejected, many of those are valuable and they're contributing to the DAO in positive ways. So I just encourage people to continue engaging, continue sharing your ideas, and continue putting things forward, because it is very important and it does matter a lot.
Yeah. Just to add to Blixer, I also want to stress to everyone here that the feedback and ideas and even the governance proposals that comes up just comes to show that the system is working, right? A lot of the things that we take into consideration is usually in alignment with labs. So if these ideas aren't actually going up to IMC, it's not, then the idea there is that it's not being brought to labs' attention. So we definitely encourage everyone here to throw their ideas, make it into a proposal, even so, just so that we can also align properly with labs, and we can also, as IMC, share it to you guys, the community, as to how plausible or how probable it is, or maybe even a timeline that this is something that's a great idea, but maybe we have to do this after open beta or after some certain events or situations have passed. So yes, feel free to keep on doing so, and we fully appreciate what the community is providing and the value they're giving through these proposals.
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and hold the questions till the end. Looks like we'll probably have some time at the end to wrap up with some questions anyways. So I'm not sure if you're going next, Scrubba, or Annie is. Wave 3 had topic Scrubba to cover.
Scrubba, I will defer to you if you want to jump in for the VAR point briefly.
Sure. This shouldn't take too long. So the next topic to be discussed is regarding our licensing and VAR application. So the IMC wanted to provide a little bit of an update on this, considering that it has taken probably a couple of months since we've given an update on this. And to make it simple, the licensing as a whole is put on hold. And the reason being is that the industry landscape particularly in terms of regulatory framework, is not yet mature. A lot of the jurisdictions are still catching up to the innovations of blockchain, and its focus is primarily on GameFi, DeFi, while GameFi and Web3, in terms of web gaming, is that it's pretty low on the priority. We're not exactly on their horizon so far, as they're still trying to catch up on how they can regulate the DeFi aspects of blockchain technology. Um, and if we look at this, I think this is something that we need to look at as a community as a whole, as DAO as a whole, is that there is a narrative that we can get our license, we can be recognized, we can be regulated. But the drawback there is that we're exposing not just the DAO, but the gamers, all the players in Illuvium through some sort of KYC. And that would mean more information that's being shared to this regulatory authority. And we need to know as a DAO is, are we comfortable going through KYC? And if yes, what level do we see some sort of comfort to it, right? So this is more of an open-ended question, and I'd love to hear people in chat, and maybe if you guys have questions regarding it, we can go through it later on after all the talks have been discussed. Is that what is our stance, or what are your opinions on the levels of KYC, if any, that we would want the game or the DAO to go through?
Thanks for the update on Bara Scrubba. Again, we'll take questions at the end, guys. Annie, I think you're going to go ahead and cover.
I am. Yep. Thanks. Thanks, Rich. So first off, I'm just going to start off this as we talk about Beyond Wave 3 with the feedback that I know I personally have a little bit of withdrawal going on. In particular, not having the chance to get out there and battle and do some of the bonding. I know bonding isn't the favorite for everyone in the community, but I actually kind of like the aesthetically pleasing Illuvatars. And so that said, we, as always, in a somewhat controversial topic like this, have a variety of opinions in the community, right? There's been a lot of folks that have been very critical of running the additional waves before open beta came out. There's also a fair number of folks that I've been talking to, and we see in the channels that really they just want more Illuvatars, right? They want to get wave 3 out and to be able to continue collecting and playing and so forth. And certainly, I respect all of those points of view. That said, the general community sentiment was pretty clear, going into the midpoint of wave 2, when we took the decision to pass the IIP to delay wave 3 activities until after open beta. The main point here that I just want to really reinforce with the community is when we do a launch for something, even as maybe small compared to open beta as wave 3 for Illuvium Beyond, there's a whole host of activities that go into it, from marketing and communications activities, community focus and effort, as well as obviously you've got the dev topics to get the system up and running. The art is already done, so the artwork is not an issue for for these waves. That said, it does pull the focus away from open beta, and I know that there's good reason to want to have Beyond rolling, but at the end of the day, it's most important by far for us to get open beta out, and I think this, I would say, has been a key focus. You heard it in terms of some of the language that Blichter used around IIPs. This epoch in particular, the IMC has been very laser focused on this point, that anything that could potentially put open beta at risk from a timing standpoint has to go onto the back burner. And so that said, that I think that message, I hope that's been heard loud and clear by the community. I think also, hearing the feedback for PB4, the timing for other launch activities, is indicating that we're seeing more success at that last push here for open beta, and that's where we want to be as a project right now. That said, a couple of the points for Wave 3, as I mentioned, the artwork is all done. There's a few other dev pieces that would need to be finalized just to get it ready for rollout. There are some other feature sets that are going to be ready or planned, let's say at least, to be ready for open beta for Wave 3, including the collection achievements activities that have been a real highlight for the community. We've got another series of Beyond Cosmetic rewards that we're targeting before the end of this month of April. So I think there's an internal date. I'm not sure. I'm not going to give that right now, but let's say this month for cosmetics like skins, emotes, the battle boards, and so forth that I know the community is super, super pumped about. So that is coming soon, TM. And then, the other kind of core focus with Wave, as we saw really a lot of success, in particular with Team Liquid last Wave. We've got two amazing partners. No leaks here today, but the team is working through that, and there's current evaluation of those two partners as to determine which one would be the one that we work with for promos for Wave 3 as well. I'll note, and this is why obviously it kind of made sense for me to take this topic today. From the Battle in the Beyond standpoint, there's a few other key feature sets that I know some of our community is going to be super excited about. We've got wagering, both for ETH, and then also by far the most requested feature set for people that want to be able to wipe Illuvatars and accessories from folks like Kieran and TSG. We will have playing for pink slips available for Wave 3 in Battle in the Beyond. And then we've got a few other nice features, chat functionality, tournament mode, and some of you even got to play in the multi-disc opening, which I know has been a big pain point for some of our larger players. So what I will just highlight, you see this both from the Illuvium side and the partner side. The delay is allowing us to really build out a lot of the infrastructure and additional feature sets that the community's been keen about. We'll also note that some of the improvements to the albums and similar structures that are going to really make this thing pop are also in the works. And so, I think the delay is maybe not ideal, but it also does give us a chance to really kind of recalibrate and put some more focus on some of those key features that are going to be of interest. The timing is going to be good, as we would be looking to launch just a few weeks after open beta for Wave 3. So the target right now is somewhere in that 4 to 6 week range after open beta. So let's call it early Q3. And obviously, we'll have some of those discussions as we get into everything. We want to make sure that the dev teams in particular, are able to focus on any topics that pop up after open beta launch for Overworld and Arena and so forth, and to make sure that we can crank Zero out. That said, Wave 3 is not that far away in the grand scheme of things. So that's a quick overview. If there were any comments, I actually didn't look at chat at all during this, but feel free, Rich, or someone to throw up any comments for me or questions on Wave 3.
Yeah, the cosmetic rewards are coming. Shouldn't be long.
So just on the cosmetic rewards, the back end stuff for that, which is the only thing remaining to be completed, is being worked on literally as we speak. I put a bit of a focus on that from one of our back end engineers, and the intention is to get those out as soon as possible. I think that'll be in Beyond. It will mean you can start trading them, which means that Illuvidex volume should go up, and a whole bunch of stuff. I know people have been waiting a long time for that. That will also mean any of the other cosmetics from giveaways and stuff like that will also be minted and sent out to people as well. So yes, we understand that it's something that has been wanted for a long time, and I'm hoping in the next few weeks we'll have that. We'll have those all sent out.
Right. I'm excited.
Kieran, do you want to speak to the Illuvidex fixes? That was a question that Fight for ETH just asked in the chat too.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of updates to the Illuvidex which we are working on. The intention there is to have them done by open beta, so I don't have as clear a date on those, but we have received the feedback. We are working on it, and yeah, I know I saw a whole bunch of UX designs last week, so yes, 100% we are working on them.
Next topic, pretty much covered all the airdrop. Next thing on the agenda, guys, was the leaderboard reward. Go over the fact that they pause.
Yeah, I didn't put that one on the agenda. What was the Blichter? What are we discussing there? Is it when they're going to start again? What's
Grade.
No, just muted on Discord this time. I think this was mostly just to talk about the airdrop, but I think you already covered a fair bit of that, Kieran.
Yeah. If you missed the beginning of this, guys, too, don't record it. It'll be up shortly after.
Yeah, and in terms of leaderboard rewards, we don't have an exact date on that yet, but it will be sometime before open beta, but maybe even before then. But we'll keep you guys informed. Just remembering as well that they're also, once we get to open beta testnet, you will be earning airdrop points for playing arena. So there will be still that incentive to play the different games. Whether or not we'll be adding the leaderboard rewards back at the same time is undecided. But yeah, as I said, we'll let you guys know as soon as possible.
All right. Viper, I think you're pulling up end here. Talk about Ascension.
Yeah, good to have the nice last spot. But no, fundamentally, we've been playing Ascension Arena for about 4 months and counting now, right? And I guess I mainly want to iterate again, big shout out to the community and everybody that's actually been beta testing, reporting bugs, giving tremendous amounts of feedback, right? Like I've myself been spending a whole lot of time in that game mode, and we've been through many different iterations, and there have been a lot of changes throughout all of those iterations. And I guess like for some days it's been better, for some days it's been feeling a bit more difficult for some beta testers. So yeah, just big shout outs to everybody that's continuously with that. I think it's been a lot of fun. We've seen a lot of community engagement around all of those topics, whether it was about sharing information, building groups, building teams, a lot of content that's been going around social media and YouTube. It's very positive. Then everybody's been trying to look forward to the Team Liquid tournament with 150k prize pool. So that's just something to look out for, that a lot of people seem to be preparing. And even though it is beta testing, a lot of changes have been happening. A lot of changes are yet to happen. A lot of feedback is been already put in action. A lot of feedback is gonna still be put into future updates and patches. I mean, everybody's still trying to just get like whatever small advantage or edge or understanding they can get, whether it be for airdrop, for leaderboard rewards, for future esports, for even just honing your skills for overworld battles in the future. So yeah, just the whole arena testing has been pretty much great, I guess, in that sense, and really appreciating all that feedback that's happening. And then I guess the last point that's been the overreaching topic on a lot of the things, especially when Blichter was talking about, for example, proposals being rejected or put on revisions, is the main goal is to have everything as good of a state as possible going into open beta. So I guess that's one of the things that I've been just I don't know, in general in Discord and in various other forms, just been reiterating a lot. That is the goal, right? Have everything as good as possible state going into open beta, going into essentially all those relevant things, which means that at the moment it is beta testing, right? There's going to be bugs, there's going to be balance issues, there's going to be testing out systems that maybe very extreme ways, maybe very underpowered ways, just whatever, a whole lot of things testing out, a whole lot of things to be figured out, a whole lot of things to be given feedback on, whether it be positive, whether it be negative, but that's the overreaching goal. And yeah, that's just something that I think sometimes gets forgotten, because Illuvium standard has always been, when products are given to people, to be super, super high level and very, very polished at that level already. So just don't forget that it is beta testing, and tremendous amounts of feedback are gathered around all of those things. And yeah, it's looking good. I think we've been super engaged. People have been sometimes unhappy, but I think overall people have been posting screenshots of 1,000 hours played and things like that. So yeah, I just want to reiterate those things and give shoutouts to everybody. Might have been more than a day at sometimes, but yeah.
No leaderboard rewards planned for Illuvium 0. That's certainly something that we could look at if there was an IIP that someone wanted to put out. But the issue with it is because we wouldn't be able to do it until we go on chain, because there's still the ability to potentially cheat. So not until open beta, but certainly we can look at it after open beta. But just as well, I know a lot of people are frustrated with Illuvium 0 at the moment, but remember that the main thing here was for 0 players and landholders to earn their piece of fuel sales, which is absolutely going to happen at open beta. Yes, it's taken a lot longer than we intended, but I've seen some comments in there like, what was the point of this? You know, it was just a waste of money and whatever. That the whole point was that you'll get your piece of revenue once things go live. So that still exists. I know that the frustration there is like, well, that should have existed 2 years ago, but it's here. It's around the corner. It's going to be activated, and you are going to start returning, getting a return on your investment. So you know, I'm one of those people that invested heavily into the land sale. I think, you know, it was, I don't even remember how much it was now, but it was a stupid amount that I decided to not take in ILV, and I used my SILV to obtain those lands. So I certainly am looking for you know, looking forward to fuel generation going live, and yeah, we're almost there. So just hold on, guys.
Okay. We'll I think this might be a relevant one. We'll take this one as like one of our last ones here. Fight for ETH said, if the community votes for no more land sales, is that something we can get written in stone? Of course, after the IMC has talked about pros and cons and concluded it won't hurt the economy. Only 20,000 plots?
I mean, look, yeah, anything's possible. We could certainly do that. It doesn't really, like, the intention was always to have 100,000 plots across all the different regions. So I haven't spoken to Aaron about like how that would fit into the law, but certainly the intention is for us to have no more than 20,000 plots going into open beta. So I don't see why it would be a problem if the community was to vote that. But I think that's a little bit ridiculous based on the fact that if the demand for overworld is really, really high, we're going to get to a point where it just makes sense for us to sell more land plots as a DAO. So I don't see that happening. I know that that would be a situation where landholders rejoice, but I don't think that that's particularly healthy for the DAO. Not to say that we absolutely shouldn't do it, but I think doing it prior to seeing what the demand is like in Overworld would be a huge oversight on our behalf.
Righty. Well, I saw a lot of kind of questions all over the place. I think we just need to have an actual town hall with maybe you and Aaron soon, Kieran. And
Yeah.
yeah, and we can answer some of the more broad questions over different projects and different things. But yeah, as far as the council town hall, we just wanted to cover those topics, answer questions on those. Your council is always available to you. This is recorded, so I will get this uploaded as soon as possible. I'm probably going to eat some dinner first, but give me a couple hours and I'll get this posted up on the Illuvium Plus channel so you guys can all listen in and hear it again if you missed anything. I appreciate everyone coming out today. Guys, any closing thoughts or say your goodbyes?
Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it. I know it's been a long coming, but there's light at the end of the tunnel, and we can finally see it internally from the team's perspective. And hopefully, once we start going live with some of these tests, you'll also see the light at the end of the tunnel. So we really, really appreciate the community as always. I know, some of the names that I see, I feel like I see and talk to you guys more than I talk to my wife. But yeah, let's just keep things going, keep the team motivated. They see a lot of the discussion and they read a lot of the comments and whatever. So if we can keep positive over the next 3 months, it would be really, really appreciated. And yeah, we can't wait to get things going and to go live. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll just echo that. You guys and the questions that you're continuing to ask. Again, the engagement from the Illuvium community has always been fantastic, and even when there's there's FUD or there's disagreements, in general, it always appears to be the case that people are really just interested in getting the games out, right? You want what's being built here, which frankly is always a breath of fresh air compared to many projects in the sector, and so. That said, I'm excited about us finally getting to this point. So thanks to Kieran and the team for continuing to push here, and for you all and your support. We're here. It's Q2, so let's get the show on the road here.
Awesome. Cheers. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks everyone. See you guys.
Bye.